we can pick up from there. Hold on, let's see if this recovers. I'm sorry. Fuck.
No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough, dude.
Hi, everybody. This is Jason.
And this is Pete.
And this is the Lost Legions podcast. And today we have a treat for you. We are going to tell you how to run an event. And to do this, we have a special guest. Pete, do you want to introduce our special guest?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the Mr. Ben Cooper. Hey, Ben. Awkward wave.
you haven't lived until
hey, guys.
You've stared into Ben Cooper's dreamy eyes of his Google Pics profile. We'll put that up later in the notes.
Yeah, they got scarier over the last 10 years, unfortunately. But.
Oh, well, have a wheel.
So, both Pete and Ben actually have to run a series of events together called 30K Frontier. And what I was hoping was you guys can actually tell us a little bit about how to run events, how to put together an event, what kind of events you guys run, and what kind of different events they are. So why don't we just start with the basics? What is a 30K event? I mean, I'm sure that may be a little too basic, but why don't you kind of give us that and the flavors and narratives?
Yeah, sure. I'll take this bit, Ben. So yeah, the very basics, I guess, are just a case of putting on a load of games, a load of scheduled, organised games, right, for a bunch of gamers to come and mess around with, meet each other, and just really generally enjoy the hobby. That's like the basic premise of it, right? In terms of our events, they're a little bit more narrative, I guess you could say, and we try and push that boat as much forward as possible.
And you guys have been putting on events for how long?
Too long, I think, is the actual answer to that. So I think it's probably about 5 or 6 years, is it, Pete?
I think so,
mate.
I
remember time has just gone so damn fast. But yeah, I think it's probably about 5 or 6 years now.
Well, it started off in my flat was the original idea for a Zone Mortalis Games Day. And then I don't know how we got on to do it.
Do you remember we went to the pub, Pete? And I was like, I don't want to say no to anything this year. Let's fucking do something.
Yeah.
And over a beer, we decided that we wanted to do something, although we didn't know what it would sort of turn into at that point, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the original idea was to run games in your flat, Pete.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, okay, so I know what you guys have done. So how did this get so out of control from this point? What did you guys, what qualifies as an event? How many people does it take to go from your flat to running an actual event?
Oh, Christ. I guess, it's really anything more than 4 or 6 people should probably then be out of the flat. That's probably a fair way of looking at it. I just think it snowballed a little bit, didn't it? So Ben's an animation artist. Is that correct, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. After 6 years,
that's
mate.
Good. And has a unique set of skills and will make you a fantastic Heresy event. If
or
you
logo.
Do so. Or logo.
I think it was started when you actually didn't want those 6 guys in your flat, did you, Pete?
Yeah, well, I could just smell myself alone, and there was enough. So that's all that man stench. Yeah.
I think we very quickly had to. We decided that it would have to be somewhere a bit more manageable.
You were afraid of a wet leopard growl clearing out the entire room?
Yeah, and actually, we attended. Did you go to the Escalation event, Ben? I know you did, Jay. The Escalation Paints one.
Whereabouts was it?
Oh, I think it's Jay frozen for you.
Yes.
We will be right back.
Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but Pete was telling us about the Escalation Painting event.
Yeah, precisely the venue, right, which was held at the Jury's Inn in Southampton, and it was attending that event, and that was my second Heresy event I attended. Bearing in mind, I've got scheduled a load of men to come to my flat for a weekend of gaming. Thought this area is really cool. This could work. And in fact, we've got a picture of it. I'll bring it up. So this is the hall, and this is how me and Ben displayed our event as the games went on and whatnot.
But this is your event. It's not the
Escalation. The same room.
Escalation Painting took place.
Yeah, many years ago now, 6-7 years ago or something like that. Crazy. Yeah. So yeah, that's and it was just I mean, it's no it's no big brain idea, right? Like the space, the aircon, the ventilation, the tables, everything. It's so much better than putting in your house, right?
So we kind of see an idea of this is your event. This was a small event. The two of you guys are running it together. Ben was providing some animations, which was really cool and unique. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about 30K Frontier, which is your events, and like what they're like.
Yeah, do you want to take it, Ben?
I think if you introduce it, mate. So Pete is very much the brains behind 30K Frontier in terms of his knowledge of 30K and the Warhammer community. Like he's a big part of certainly in the local area, a big part of the hobby. So if you take it first, Pete, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, okay, man. So I wanted to put on the most sort of narrative event my brain could conjure, if that makes sense, right? But keeping it real fun and lighthearted and not getting too serious, because attending a couple, sometimes you get lost in a lot of bookkeeping, right? And the intentions are good, but the delivery's not the best. So that's what my goal was to do, and have bespoke missions and like interesting terrain pieces. Like we had one mission with 6 Arva Slighters involved, and you had to like get them to fly off the board. I don't know if you played that one, Jay, at all.
I failed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it was Pilot Archimedes was the name. He was like the fighter ace of the Battle Moon of Porter 7. So it was always good things. And then Ben comes in with his graphic design skills really, and helps put like all of the designing of the logos and graphics and the event packs and all the videos as well. So we run a lot of videos, which makes us quite different, I think. I
can't remember what it was. I can't remember exactly what it was that sort of spawned these ideas of having videos and the grandeur of having, the best of the best event packs that we could have and all that. But I think there was just a few nights where we were at yours, Pete, just going through what we could do for this event, and we were like, what if we did this? And like I say, it was the sort of time in my career where I was just like, I want to start, pushing myself and doing stuff that I enjoy, and animating stuff that I enjoy, and designing stuff that other people could get involved in and get hyped for. And it just sort of went from there, really, didn't it? I think we were really keen to. Oops, sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say, it was like, just because we could means we should, right? Like it was kind of like
I think
we were just sat in the pub. We were just sat in the pub like 4-6 beers in or whatever, like, and we could do this effect, and we could. I think we were on about getting smoke machines in at one point, weren't we?
Yeah,
when
we were.
The guys walk through the doors and like having like jungle aquatic like stuff going on, and like just like.
It was cool though.
I know in between different like rounds, they would kick you out of the room.
Oh, set
and then
change.
they would set change all of the tables, and then you'd come back in and you'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ. And like, it was just very extra. Your guys' events are really, really fun and really, really cool. And that was like just one of the small touches that you guys did that I saw that I was like, oh my God, this is really, really, really cool.
So, got an example of some of the things that we can leave this run as we talk about it, if you like. Would that be good?
Yeah. That'd be cool. Well, why don't you talk us through what's going on here?
Cool. Okay. So I don't know if you remember this one specifically, Ben, but this, I think, is the last mission of the Akar event 4.5 years ago, which was a 12x4 doubles game with a central 4. That's Harry. With a central 4x4 Zone Mortalis, and you had to like breach the outer walls. Some of these videos might be a bit interesting. It's a bit interesting. So those walls there, you had to get in and try to sort of secure the main generator in the middle. You get a bit better idea. But this was like duos. How many points was a card? Do you remember? Was it
2,000?
2,000-ish? I think you're right. It was about 4K a side, roughly, or maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
And a car was the first one. We had the little specialist slots as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had like
it's a score throughout the day. Yeah, so that's that one.
Oh man, it's really nice to be like seeing all those old videos again.
And this
and
one,
then you guys had a lot of Zone Mortalis too.
Sorry,
I thought that was another big point, and something I thought that was really fun that you had like Frontline mixed with. Hey, I know that guy. Frontline mixed with Zone Mortalis for the loser.
Yeah. So this one, if you remember, Jay, this one you had to open up all the doors and all the thralls were coming out. This was the DM'd game.
Oh yeah. That was like the bridge at the top. Yeah, it was really cool. This table was amazing. I don't know.
That already didn't last too long.
No, it was like a giant mountain. It was super fun to play on.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, the main thing just sort of watching these back is seeing all the fellas again. It's been, you know, years since we did the last event, and that, as you sort of touched upon earlier, Pete, is absolutely definitely my favorite thing, and I'm pretty sure it's your favorite thing as well about sort of running these events. It's just meeting all the new hobby boyfriends, and you know, just getting to roll some dice together, really.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, is there another one? Oh, is this one of the animations?
This is one of the animations that Ben did, like for the end. This was the end of Quarter 7, or the beginning of a car. This was the beginning of a car, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was VO for them all over.
You've got mail.
I think right now people were like talking, and this was what we would sit and watch. Like, so these extra guys got us to like sit down and watch these briefings, and like everyone had an event pack, and it was just like everybody was just blown away. Like the event was just like extra. It was really, really cool.
Jesus, pre-COVID. If only we knew. Like this, right? So
here we go.
Sit there and watch like the zooming out the planets and stuff. And
yeah, so with these as well, we were keen to not sort of use anybody else's artwork that they've created.
It's just a loop, I think. Yeah,
everything is bespoke for the events, which you know,
we were so keen. Sorry, but then carry on. Sorry, carry on, please, Ben.
I was just going to say it's probably a little bit much.
Yeah.
But looking back, you know, you can look back on it, you know, with proud, fond memories, really. Yeah. Just because of that, if nothing else.
It was fun to do VO.
Yeah. And for the upcoming, so we're doing a very similar thing, aren't we, for the upcoming events? So, little plug for those of you that aren't coming, come along. There are spaces in January and February. Links in the description.
We'll get to that again at the end.
Yeah.
But actually, I kind of want to switch tack right now and kind of talk to you guys about people who want to run events and your guys' advice in getting started and what they can do and what kind of events they can run. So we've seen the extra that you guys run, but let's talk about base events and what, if people want to get out there, let's give them some ideas about what they can do, where they can do it, and what kind of events they can run.
Yeah, I think, you know, the key thing to do, which doesn't cost any money, is just put on some bespoke missions. It doesn't even matter if they're particularly balanced. Like, you don't want to have a bad time, but if they're sold as being a fluffy narrative mission, and like, if everyone turns up going, hey, the traitors, you're in charge of this mission, you should win this mission. And a lot of, you go, okay, cool. How less of a defeat can I make it as a loyalist then, right? And then it flips, you know, for equal sake, the next round or whatever, right? So I think that's the biggest thing I can say is just turning up and playing the Black Book, you know, the standard rulebook missions. It doesn't really add anything to the experience, and it doesn't cost the event organizer anything other than a little bit of time, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and also it doesn't have to be, you know, a big venue or anything like that. You can do those kind of things and then just run these events for just a few mates and just have these really cool bespoke missions just to see if you like it in the first place. There's no point in sort of going full bore and creating event packs and whatever, and then you get to the day and you're like, God, I really didn't enjoy that. And you know, it could sort of get to you quite quickly, I guess. So yeah, just rolling some dice with some mates. I think that's the best place I'd start.
Do you have some easy tips for making things narrative?
I think the thing that's helped us, which we didn't mean to do on purpose at all, because we were very scared of treading on IP because we were doing videos and stuff, was the narrative has always been around a human, like militia type characters, rather than trying to follow the narrative of Space Marines particularly. you just got so much more free reign of what they're doing and using made-up planets and that sort of stuff. If you were trying to tell the story from the point of the Ultramarines, for example, you're going to be shoehorned into a little bit of how that's going to actually probably play out.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I think that definitely helped. I think. Would you agree, Ben? Or
yeah, definitely. I think also just starting with a story, no matter how brief it is. Like, I want this cool new dude. He's going to be the hero of the campaign, and he's going to go from point A to point B throughout. And then you sort of build the event backwards almost. You've got your cool little storyline that you've thought up in your head, and then actually you go and create the games and scenarios around that. And I think that's definitely something that a couple of pints down the pub helps with, and just chatting with a couple of mates rather than just necessarily keeping it all to yourself and having to do all the work yourself. I think that's something that I've really valued in this whole experience is just going through it with Pete. And there's things that haven't worked, there's things that have worked, and there was one time where we were going to get VR headsets for everybody, and
we were looking at the VR like cinema glasses, weren't we?
You the motherfucker.
Yeah, and then everyone was going to come and sit down, and the conversation went something like, they'll come and sit down, they'll put on their goggles, and then when they look around, they're sat next to other people who are Space Marines, and it's like, oh, that would be amazing, but impossible, really. On the budget, and I think,
and then Ben started a company called Meta.
Yeah,
Ben just unzips himself, and Zuckerberg stands up
as a Marine, obviously.
For aspiring event organizers, what would be your top one mistake to look out for?
Not playtesting your missions.
Obviously a good one, I think.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ben.
No. You play test them. You do well. Yeah. I don't. But.
I don't know, man. It doesn't matter how easy you make it for a player to follow it through. This isn't me putting the onus of this question on players, but it could be like you go from A to B and you use this to get there, and it's like, that's it. Some people are just not going to do it. Some people are going to struggle with it. Some people are not going to like it. It doesn't matter, right? So, like the time when we had an app, didn't we, for the event pack? Do you remember? So the app would upload through the event, so your next mission would trigger into the app midway through the day, which I thought was really cool. And a lot of people did. A lot of people liked it, but there was just some that couldn't get along with that, right? And that's fine. And
I think, they had to have chargers for their phones, and there was a lot of external factors that we hadn't really sort of foreseen there being an issue with. And
yeah, exactly. So we're not doing that again. But I think you just stick with the biggest thing is, the one thing I'd say I've learned is, don't get hung up if something doesn't go right, because something is not going to go right.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And what's the easiest way to deal with rules problems that come up? Because this is definitely something that will happen.
Just roll a dice off on it. Especially now with the dubious rule book.
Oh yeah, 2.0.
And the limited FAQ, right? Just 1, 2, 3, it's in your favour. 4, 5, 6 in my favour, or either player's favour. I'm a big fan of that. I think me and you did that with Russ the other day. I think about deflagrate or something. I can't remember.
A lot of times, just in general, I'm like, if it's not an easiest answer, just roll for it, and then we can look it up later, right? And then figure it out, right? Because
it can slow down the game so much, can't it?
Yeah. So I think sometimes it's just easy to come up to the easy resolution for something and then just continue on. I mean, I guess that's my personal advice.
Okay. I think so.
Well, do you have any final advice for people before we move on to kind of the next section?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm qualified to give advice as such on it.
I think only do it if you're having fun. When the fun stops, stop.
Yeah.
Hey, that's good.
That's actually a really good point, though, right? Because we were scheduled to do another one in lockdown. Well, lockdown hadn't happened. COVID hadn't happened yet. We were scheduled to do one in March, I think, of 2020.
Yeah.
And I was, in 2019, I was just burned out from running events. Because we ran 8 in 1 year, I think.
Yeah, you ran a lot.
And I think, like, obviously life gets in the way as well. Like, you can't, you want to do the best job you can, but sometimes if that's not possible because of other commitments, like, you just something's got to give. And it's not the most important thing in the world. So
no, exactly. Just like when you're not feeling it, that's cool. Just, if you need to cancel and refund money, that's great. If you need to raffle off a Zone Mortalis table and be a meme for the next 4 years or whatever, equally that's fine. As long as players are happy, then that's all that matters.
Not that Peter's speaking from personal experience on that.
Not at all.
Well, okay, so let's switch gears and wrap this up, and let's talk about, do you guys have any upcoming events? Because we've shown off a little bit of what you did. We've talked about how to be an event organizer, how to run events. Do you have any examples you'd like to show the people?
We do. We'll plug the intro, the ticket teaser at the end of this video for those that might want to come. But yeah, we've got the Forever Winter, isn't it, Ben? The
Forever Winter's Low, yeah, man.
The final chapter of the Recallion Wars, which is our narrative epic saga running for the last 6 years.
Yeah, we've done a hell of a lot of stuff over the last 6 years, but I think this one by far is the most intense one that we've ever worked on. I think in terms of scale, it sort of outweighs the others at least sort of 5-fold in terms of like the quality of the production and what we're trying to sort of, shoehorn in there almost. There's some bits in the event pack. People would have already sort of seen some bits where, there's a couple of little tricks up our sleeve, what we're doing with it. And I think it's looking so good. And I think it's feeling worthy of the ending of a campaign. So,
well, that's really cool. And like Pete said, we'll put the stinger after this so you guys can check it out with the information about the event if you're interested in it. And Ben, we'll have to have you back. And I think this time we should play the animations and chat about it after the event is over, and we can show the world what you guys did.
We should save the animations. Did you say, Jay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I was avoiding that. I was avoiding that. I was avoiding saying that. I was avoiding calling you out. But now that you brought it up, somebody got all the animations from the other one.
Top tip: if you're going to do video animations for your event, definitely save them on the internet somewhere. Yeah. We had them saved across 3 physical drives, right? And all those drives went missing or destroyed over the.
That's what I just said. After this event, we're going to bring them up on YouTube and we're going to play them for the people, and then you guys will have them forever.
Yeah. I think we need to host them on there anyway, Ben.
Top tip.
I think that's the top thing to
do. Well, thank you for joining us, Ben. Pete, thank you for going through how to do all of the event stuff. And yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, cheers, Ben. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Catch you later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Munitions. Dig in. The enemy is upon us. Check those bayonets. Barricades are ready, sir. What's your order? Raise the blast doors, Sergeant.